we had 3,000 new members join the membership in that week.
Which is bonkers.
We had over 7,000 people sign up for the workshop.
And this was a free workshop?
No, it was paid.
What?
Yeah. And I needed to now support 4,448 people. I remember the number. If I can get 600 new members, that would be amazing. And then I would feel safe. And my phone just would ding nonstop for like hours that day. It was the craziest thing.
That was Allie Kay. She's a self-taught artist, founder of Allie Kay Studio, and the person behind one of the fastest growing painting memberships that I have ever seen. She started with one course filmed on her iPad. Now she has 6,300 plus members. Today we're talking about the quiet goal she set for her first big launch versus the number she actually hit, the $10 coupon trick that fills day one of every launch, and why she gives away her biggest sales day every single time. And wait until you hear what happened the moment her husband retired into the business she once called a side thing. It's so good and so inspirational. Let's get into it. So Allie, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me here.
Okay, I have lots to dig in to because you have changed your overall marketing approach, not once, but you're thinking about changing it twice. And yet each time you've had success. Mm-hmm. And so I want to break down like how you've been able to add thousands of new members into your membership. And I want to talk about like how specifically you're doing it. So before we get there though, let's kind of stop and pause. You have been serving artists. Mm-hmm. How did you get to the point of teaching others how to paint?
Well, I have always created art like my entire life. And I never actually thought of myself as a teacher, which is funny, but I came from a family of all teachers. And I was like, I'm not one of you guys. I'm just going to be the artist. But somebody invited me to teach at a workshop when I was part of kind of an artist networking group when I lived in Texas. And so I said, okay, I'll do it. And it was awesome. And then I just kind of got invited to do more events. And I was traveling all over the country for a little while, like teaching at conferences. But I always, knew that maybe there was a better way to do this. And so then eventually I started teaching online.
Wow. Okay. So you were reluctant to teach.
A little bit. Yeah.
So, and then you did that first workshop and you're like, okay, this ain't so bad. This is actually kind of good.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're traveling around teaching. But you said there that you always knew there was a better way to teach. What were you looking for?
I guess what I found was that I just poured so much into every single class. And it was like this huge event to put on. And it sucked a lot of energy out of me at the end of it. And I loved it. But it was also something that I didn't feel like I could be doing every week. I couldn't host another workshop every week because there'd just be nothing left of me.
Right.
So I remember starting to consider like, could I make an online course? This was maybe 2017, 2018, something like that. And it took me a little while before that actually happened. But the rest is history.
So I would imagine too, when you were doing them in person, it sounds like there was quite a bit of travel.
Yeah. And I would travel to conventions, but I would also have people come to me. So I would regularly host workshops of maybe 10 people, and they'd come from all over the US. So it was expensive. Yeah. And I felt like I could only serve the people who could afford to do a trip like that.
Yeah, because it's limited in terms of the number of people that you'd be able to host in an event.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you said you began thinking about going online. When did you actually pull the trigger and go online?
2018.
2018. And what was that? What did you teach or offer?
I created one portrait painting class, and it's like cringeworthy when I think about how I did it, but it was what, just broke the ice, but it was all just filmed with my iPad in, a dark studio.
So you filmed the whole thing with your iPad?
Yeah.
Amazing. Buddy, we should bring this back. We got to see this thing.
I wish I had photos of this happening because I had like clamp lights from Home Depot all over the room. It was so bad.
It reminds me, the first version of our signature program, we didn't and couldn't afford anybody to help us film it. So I literally set up the camera and I would start it, and then I'd wait 2 seconds, and then I'd say my thing, and then I'd pause, and then I'd lean over and stop it again. It's so funny when you look back, right?
Yeah, but it worked. It still had the effect of teaching people what I needed to teach them, even though it was pretty clunky.
So this was a one-time course, so people would pay a one-time fee. Do you remember how much you charged for it?
Well, actually, I charged quite a bit because I was comparing it to what I was charging when people came to my studio and took a workshop. And so I think I charged, like $297, something like that. And my workshops that people would come to were like $600.
Okay. Did you have an audience at that point?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not massive, but I probably had like 3,000 or 4,000, Facebook followers.
I got you. So you were sharing your art on Facebook and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so you sell this course. Then how does the business grow from there?
Well, I continued to do these like kind of one-off courses that would take me months to figure out how to film and put together and launch the course and, make a little money, but it was never anything real explosive. And I continued to host my in-person workshops, and then 2020, right? So all of those in-person workshops were canceled.
What goes through your mind in that moment?
I think everybody was just so confused, but I think the biggest thing that was weighing on me at that time was my kids were going to be home all the time. And at the same time, the building that I had my studio in just closed indefinitely. So I had to move everything home and put all my stuff in a storage unit and kind of figure it out. So I knew there were not going to be any more workshops with people coming to me.
It's a lot of pressure though. Like in an instant, your world gets flipped upside down.
Yeah.
And now you got to go from in-person workshops being primarily the main thing to we got to figure out the next main thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I decided I wanted to paint and share that with people. And so I started my Monday night paint-alongs, where every Monday I went live on my Facebook and just did a painting and started working on it and talked my way through it. And it was, anybody could show up. It was free. And when I started having like regular people watching every Monday, I started thinking like, maybe I could sell something with this.
Yeah.
So we
this
started,
is a thing.
Yeah. We started selling a $10 download, like a traceable template. So they could purchase the template. They could follow along with the live stream that was public. And then I would have hundreds of people buying that $10 template every week. And that got me thinking that maybe there was something to this.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were selling the template separately. So you'd talk about it on the live. You'd be like, hey, if you want this to be easier, go get the template.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. And then, so that evolved, I'm guessing, to what you got now, which is your membership. And what did the first iteration of your membership look like?
Well, I decided I had to stop doing the Monday night paint-alongs if I was going to have a membership, because otherwise those things would compete with each other. So I announced to my community that this was going to be coming to an end, that I was making a shift in order to serve them better. Yeah, of course, right? But I really was. I wanted to have it be more than just this traceable template. I wanted to actually build a community of people that were supporting each other and like more planned out classes.
Right.
So I let them know, I think for maybe a few months before I stopped doing them, that it was going to be ending.
How was that received?
It was actually really well.
So I want to ask you about that, because this is important, because I know a lot of people, when they're transitioning from a free community to a paid community, there's often like this huge resistance and people get their knickers in a twist. And so how did you message this?
I really got them excited about the fact that I was starting something new, that, this is kind of ground level and they can help me be a part of what we're going to create together. That it's not just me having already built it, like, do you want it, but they were starting at the beginning. So the day we launched it, I remember sitting at my desk and I had my phone set to like, my emails were dinging every time I got an email, and I got an email every time somebody signed up. So we had all this build up to the day that it was going to launch. And I sat at my desk and my phone just would ding nonstop for like hours that day. It was the craziest thing. I was like just shaking with excitement over it. We ended up having 400 people sign up in that first opening.
That is crazy. So what's going through your mind in that moment?
Shock, just complete shock.
And is your husband, Jason, is he like, what's he thinking?
I mean, he's supportive of everything I do. He always has been. He's never questioned like any of my crazy ideas, really. I mean, maybe a little bit, but he just tries to have me be reasonable about it. But he was very excited about it. And it really wasn't that long after that like we really realized that this business was something really substantial.
And I can imagine there's almost like probably a sense of relief, because before you were selling the templates and it was like every week, I hope that people are going to buy them.
Yep.
But now with the membership, you know that those members are going to be paying you again next month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was the difference. That was why I wanted people to be in the membership and not just here and there grabbing these $10 templates, because I knew that if they were in the membership, they were going to do the lessons.
Right.
I think otherwise I had a lot of people that were collecting templates to do someday and they never touched them. So.
Yeah. The old challenge of like, oh, I just got to learn more things. Or I just got to collect more things before I actually take action.
Yeah.
But it is a big difference. Like when you're in a community and people are holding you accountable and there's a path to be able to go from not knowing how to paint to becoming this great artist, like it's way more structure and way more progress.
Yeah. Now that first version of the membership was definitely not as great of a path as what we have now. I mean, it was more like, here's the stuff. So that has definitely changed a lot. But our format of like sharing a live lesson every week and having the community participate and encourage each other, that part has stayed consistent.
So we met when I believe your membership was around 1,400 or around there.
Yeah.
And then you changed your marketing style because you had the membership where people could join at any point in time. And I want to talk a little bit about that because like, how were you marketing the membership when you had it open all the time?
Well, I did have a free course that I ran ads to. So people were doing that free mini course. It was just a single flower painting. And I think the way we had it set up was that they could prove that they did the painting. I don't know if it was just a checkbox, a form or something, but after they did the painting, they got invited to join the membership with their first month free.
So you had a free workshop, people come through the workshop, and then as part of that, they got their first month free. And then I remember the moment that you changed your complete marketing approach. And you move from an open marketing model to a closed marketing model. So to give people context, this is when you close the doors. People can't register in between. And there's a window of time. Like usually, how long was your open cart? You about a week?
I think it was like 8 or 9 days.
Okay, so there's a window of 8 or 9 days where they can register. And then you close it again to put your focus back on all the members. And it is a strategy that we've been teaching for a long time because it's a fast way to grow a membership, but it's scary, right?
Oh, yeah.
I remember this conversation with you. You're like, I don't know, but I trust you.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the moment you made that decision.
Well, I remember when I decided to do this, I decided that this was going to be done having a launch, an official launch, where we did a workshop. And I remember thinking, if I can get 600 new members, that would be amazing. And then I would feel safe. I'd feel safe to close the doors because I think at that time that would put us to 2,000 members, which felt mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
So I decided that I was going to go all in and just go for it. So I did.
And what happened?
We had 3,000 new members join the membership in that week.
Which is bonkers. You went from 1,400 adding 3,000 new members in 1 week.
Yeah.
And so What goes through your mind when that's happening?
It brought me back to that same day one when we launched the membership and my phone was going off like crazy. It was just like, what is happening? Like, this is crazy. But I had a good feeling about it because we had over 7,000 people sign up for the workshop.
And this was a free workshop?
No, it was paid.
Ah, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy pants. So how much did you charge for that?
$10.
So it was a free, or it was a $10 workshop, 7,000 people. So that's $70,000 that you have made before you open doors to your membership.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of ad spend.
There was a lot of ads. Yeah. Okay. So that's $70 top line, not, net. Fair.
Yeah.
And then you open the doors to your membership and you welcome 3,000 new members. Wow. How does the business change in that moment? Because you more than doubled the business instantaneously.
So at that time, I had one part-time customer service person working on emails. She worked maybe 15 hours a week. I had a college student that came into my studio and like cleaned my paintbrushes and made my downloads in Photoshop. And I had one former student that became like a community moderator like 10 hours a week. So this was my whole team. And I needed to now support 4,448 people. I remember the number. So I remember going into the TME Plus community and I'm just like, what do I do, you guys? Like also I was updating the community during the launch. So your team members were aware of what was happening. And I was just sharing these crazy results. And Shanna Lynn reached out to me and she was like, you need some real help. You need a full-time community manager. Like, this is a whole new world you just unlocked. And now you need to support.
You just went up
people.
A whole new level.
Yes. So she is an amazing person. And she got me connected with, my first like full-time person on the team. So
now you got like an incredible business. You have over 4,000 plus members. And now it's like, it's, air quotes, legit, because it's a big business.
Yeah.
And it requires something different from you at that point, because it's no longer like, well, we'll hope that this works out, or this is a great little community. But it's a completely different mindset. So how has your mindset changed now that you have this community with thousands of people?
I think that I go into all of my decision making now with just more confidence because it feels like I have a history of how how launches have worked, how people have, gone from having an experience with my teaching to like really wanting to be a part of the community. So I think I'm willing to take more chances. And it also feels really good to grow the team in ways that I know will allow me to have more time to be creative.
And that's really what your focus is to free up time for you to do the thing that you love, which is be creative.
Yeah.
You continue to iterate on your launches, and it's been so fun to watch you. I mean, I think now you're over, how many members you're at now?
We have 6,300 members right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Over that time, what have you learned about marketing this membership?
Ooh, so much. You've taught me a few things. I have learned that it's sharing about people, their individual stories is so important, and also activating people. So getting people moving so that they have success. Like, that's why they're in the membership. That's super important, but then sharing those successes and reflecting those successes back onto them and onto the rest of the community, it has really just that's how everything has just grown so beautifully.
So what's an example of how you do that in a launch?
One of my favorite things that we like to do when we're having a launch, so that's where we'll do like a 5-day workshop, is that we will have the team collect all kinds of screenshots of people sharing their paintings. I always tell them, like, hold your painting up. We don't want to just see your painting. We want to see you, in your living room with your painting. But they'll collect all of those photos and they'll collect what people are saying when they post. And then we make this really cool slideshow that we play when we start the next day's lesson. And I will do a voiceover and I'll read all the beautiful comments and excitement that people are sharing as we roll through all the photos of what they're doing. And I think it just reminds people like how much fun this is, and that it's possible to just jump in and have great success.
I love it because the structure of your workshop is that they're actually doing stuff each day.
Yeah.
And then you're encouraging them to post that in the group, pictures of themselves, their art, and then you're collecting that, putting it into a slideshow, and that gets presented the next day, which has got to be like incredibly rewarding for people. They made a post yesterday, and it's like being shown to everybody the next day.
Yeah. It makes them feel really good. They've even told me like they come the next day to the live stream because they want to see if they're in the slideshow.
I can imagine. So do you take everybody or do you pick and choose like a bunch?
We grab as many as we can.
Yeah.
Some days we will have a lot more posted than others. It just kind of depends on the day of the week, but we try to share as many as we possibly can.
I love it. I also know you do some different things each day that contribute to sales. One of the things on the very first day, can you talk about your strategy there? Hey, real quick, Allie's about to break down the exact launch playbook that took her membership from 1,400 members to over 4,000 plus members in a single week. And I know you might be watching this somewhere where you can't take notes. Maybe you're in the car, on a run, or at the gym. Don't sweat it. I've put together all the notes for you, her $10 coupon trick, her charity day cart close strategy, and the 5-day stacked bonus workshop structure. They're all available for free in the resource kit linked in the description. So just sit back and enjoy the conversation.
Yeah, so this was an idea that I stole from Sarah Williams. So I want to give her the credit, but she shared that on day one, the bonus that she offers people who sign up for the membership is to apply what they paid for the workshop towards the membership. It's such a simple thing. I mean, we just make a $10 coupon that people can use to purchase the membership on day one. And that is always our biggest day for people to join.
And the thing that I love about this, it's like money burning in their pocket. It's like, listen, you got a $10 credit. Like now's the time to use it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they paid $10 for this workshop. And then on day one, you're saying, hey, come join us in the membership. And you can use that $10 as a credit toward the membership.
Yeah.
It's so simple and elegant. But as you said, it's your biggest day one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. So then what other tactical things do you do throughout the week? I know you have different reasons for people to join each day. And so you said it's a 5-day workshop. So talk us through what that timeline looks like.
So the day one is the coupon, and then we will have different bonuses each day that they can grab, and we'll also give those to all of our members. So if somebody joins on day one and then we have a new bonus on day two, those people that joined on day one also get the bonus.
So the earlier they join, the more they get.
Yeah. And so usually it's something that will just kind of help to fast track their learning. A download, it might be a color mixing guide or something like that will just kind of help them along the way.
Yeah.
So we will do that for Tuesday and through Thursday, those 3 days. And then the final day of our workshop, we like to incorporate a charity. And so we will donate all of the membership sales, whether it's a monthly or an annual, we'll donate to a different organization.
I just want to pause and camp out here because I have so much respect and admiration for you because that's typically a cart close day. And it is typically the biggest day of sales. And you committed to donating that day of sales to charity, which is amazing. But what does that do from the community standpoint? Talk to me a little bit about that.
So I think it really shows people what our values are. And I think that makes people feel more comfortable and feel more trusting of me. If they feel like we have a connection where they think, well, I also care about other people, and so does she. So they tend to trust me more. But I think it also gives them permission to spend the money because they so many of the people that are in our community are just very selfless, and they are afraid to buy anything that's just for them, especially if it's something that feels like it's not necessary. It's just like a hobby. They're not typically buying our membership to start an art business, although some do. But when they know that purchase, even if it's the full annual amount of our membership, is going towards a really worthy cause, they'll do it.
I love it. And you do so many other elements with your community to raise money for causes. And, we've been the beneficiaries of this with our charity, Village Impact, the one that Amy and I run. And you've come even with your whole family to Kenya, to be a part of that.
Yeah.
But you also do other campaigns, which I just want to take a moment and talk about, like your most recent campaign that you did that featured your students. And so I would love for you to talk about what that is and how you structured that, because in my perspective, it was a beautiful way to showcase your students and at the same time, raise a bunch of money for charity. Can you tell us about it?
Sure. Well, this was fun. It was an experiment. So we called it the Paint It Forward campaign. And what we did was I had taught a lesson series based on portraits of kids in Kenya. And I shared all about Village Impact when I was teaching that series. And I told them, make sure you do these paintings because we're going to do something good with these. I didn't share all the details, partly because I didn't have it all figured out yet. Then after I taught the series, I shared with them how we were going to structure this. And we were challenging them to sell their paintings, to just put their paintings out there and sell them and donate the money to Village Impact. And I explained to them how to do it. We shared how to set up an account on a website where they can process payments and all of that. And I also just shared with them, post it on your Facebook and tell your family what you're doing, and they're gonna be excited about this. But we also shared that any of the funds that they raised, that we would be matching. And we created a virtual gallery with links to all of their paintings. So it was all these beautiful paintings in one place. And I was really proud of my students. Their paintings were so gorgeous.
It was amazing.
Yeah. And so that was just fun to scroll through in itself. But people got so excited about this because this was the first time they ever put their work for sale. They would never do it otherwise. But because it was with a mission in mind of we're going to, serve these kids in Kenya, they went way outside of their comfort zone to participate in this. And so that was really cool to see for them.
And I can imagine too, one of the biggest blocks that prevents people from selling their art and putting it out there is that there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety wrapped up with that, imposter syndrome, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But because it was for a good cause, it got people over that hump.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I guess I didn't even really think about that would be a side effect of this. I was thinking more about, I want to raise money for Village Impact. But then once we got started, it was like, wow, we should do more of this.
Yeah. I could just imagine their confidence growing and all kind of things opening up for them in a way.
Yeah.
Okay. So looking forward, you've had all this tremendous success with launches. And now you're starting to think a little bit different. You're starting to think, okay, what other marketing strategies, could I use to grow the membership? So where's your head at now?
I think when your membership gets really big, it becomes harder to sustain that number simply by the launches, because the launches have to be bigger and bigger. We have great retention in our membership. It's usually 95, 96%, but that still means that people are leaving every month. And when you have, 6,000 people, that's a big number.
Yeah, well, 6,000, we'll just do the math for people. 6,000 people, if you're losing 5%, that's 300 people a month. And so...
Oh, gosh, you to remind me, I just said a big number.
But to that point, that becomes harder to recoup. And so it's interesting because there are strategies to use to grow the membership. But to your point, once you get to a certain point, you then have to start adopting a different set of strategies to take it to the next level. So talk to us about that. Where's your head? What are you thinking about?
Well, I think I'm still in the research stage on this, but I'm definitely considering giving people more opportunity to join the membership, especially because I have a larger team now, and I think we can do a better job of serving people that come in at different times. One of the great benefits of closing the membership when we had a smaller team was that we could onboard people really well when they came in a cohort. But now I think that we could handle having people come in more regularly. So we'll see what happens. Right now it's still closed.
Okay. All right. To be continued. Looking back on this whole progress that's happened in a relatively short period of time, what overall things have you learned that have served you well from a marketing perspective?
I think being connected with other people who are also doing online marketing. It doesn't matter if it's the same business or not, but that has probably been the number one thing that has moved the needle for me in my business is the relationships that I've formed as being a part of your mastermind. But seeing other people test different things, that's been huge.
Well, we were joking today because one of our mastermind members, Sarah, is doing a big experiment. We're like, we're super excited for you. Let us know how it goes. And
so, I mean, I just think that that's so important because this world is changing so fast and marketing's changing so fast. So things that worked 6 months ago don't work now. So I think you have to be pretty flexible. So that's what I'm learning.
One other thing I want to touch on before we look to wrap is you have gotten very creative with your ads. And I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about that because I will never forget scrolling through my feed and seeing a video of you wakeboarding and doing a painting on the water. I'm like, what is happening? This is insane. Talk to me a little bit about your ad strategy.
Well, that particular video I created actually right after our last mastermind because our friend Matt was talking about how important it is to simply stop the scroll. It doesn't even matter how you stop the scroll. He uses a lot of different ways, but just to break through the noise because there's so much. So it got me thinking like, what can I do that will get people's attention? Well, I'm pretty good at wake surfing, and I'm pretty good at painting. So now, to be fair, I was not actually working on that painting in the video. It would have gotten wet from the water, but I was holding it, pretending to, and I just wanted to be, something funny. And I think that represents like the style of my teaching and my community, that it's casual art school, but it's also really good. So,
well, it definitely stopped the scroll because I was like, what is she doing? I'm like, it was amazing. And yeah, like your hair is soaking wet. You got this paint, you're trying to do it, and you're wake surfing. I was like, oh my gosh. It was crazy.
Well, now that one take took like all day. But it was fun.
It was a great video. It was a great video. Has there been anything else that you've learned as it relates to ads?
I think what I've learned is that I need to go with my gut on ads, that I know what type of imagery is going to resonate with my people. And so we've tried a lot of different creatives, and usually it's the stuff that I design all by myself, like that is going to hit home. So I think like just trusting that, like I know how to make things that they're going to care to see.
Well, we even had this conversation earlier today. We were talking about a certain type of creative. And I was sharing one that was working well for us that was much more text heavy. And you're like, the text heavy stuff doesn't work for my audience. And it makes sense because your audience is more visual. And so then we were talking about like how to take that concept and, mix it up a little bit to make it more visual. But I think you make a really great point. It's like at the end of the day, you got to start with your audience.
Yeah. And it's different for everybody. But I think you figure that out by testing, sharing things organically, and then you see what works, and that's what you roll into your ads.
And what role does your organic content play in your overall business?
I love making art. And so for me, I have it pretty easy because all I have to do is make paintings and then share them organically. And I've got like great stuff to put out. So I'm pretty regularly, sharing just whatever I'm working on in the studio, on my Instagram. And I think like having that connection with the behind the scenes has been really helpful in growing the audience. And of course, growing our email list and thus our membership.
Amazing.
Yeah.
As we look to wrap, I would love to get your final thoughts. There's a lot of people watching and listening that are going to take away all kinds of nuggets from this conversation, specifically about launching, structuring the launches, even the tactical elements of the coupon and so forth. But what advice would you give for people who are like, now is my time. Now is my time to grow. You grew in a very short period of time. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give for them?
I think that you have to be open to methods that might scare you a little bit. And so my biggest growth was when we decided to close it. And that felt scary because it was working. I was growing before that, but it wasn't explosive growth. It was kind of slow and steady. And I think sometimes you have to take some chances and know that it's going to be okay, even if it doesn't work out that time. But you have to be open to just following also what other people say works. Mm. Like I tried the method of the coaching week model because it worked for Sarah. And so I thought, well, why not work for me, right?
I think you make a really great point, though, that it's very easy to hold back in trying new things when things are working, mm-hmm. but you don't have those big breakthroughs because you're not open to trying new things. And through the experimenting and the trying is where you have those big discoveries of like what works.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you think we should?
I think that there are a lot of artists that it seems like this model works really well with teaching and sharing it with a broad audience. But I think there's sometimes some hesitation with artists that if they start teaching, they're selling out on their own art. Mm. And I feel like when you build this beautiful community and you have this consistent revenue coming in from the education side, I think that frees you up to be able to explore your own style, what you want to do. Because before I started teaching, I did a lot of commission work and I was kind of a slave to my commissions. I wasn't getting to decide what I painted. I was painting people's dogs and their grandchildren. And in that, it was time for dollars. So I didn't really get a lot of time to do what I wanted to do then. And now with this model where I'm teaching, I'm able to just paint what I want to paint. Mm. And it doesn't have to be something that I have to do for someone else.
Mm. Well, I think you're touching on a really important piece for artists. Mm-hmm. And that is to be confident in the offers that you make and how you show up. Because I do think there's a lot of artists in this world who, don't want to make an offer because they don't want to, quote, be salesy and they don't want to come across that way. But it's not that way at all. In fact, as you said, like in our world, in our membership world, artists have some of the most successful memberships around.
Oh my gosh. We have it pretty easy because it's such a visual thing. Yeah. And I think artists need support. Mm. And so having a community around you is key to growing and having success. So I'm excited for my students because they're seeing that.
Yeah, I love it. I'm going to end with one final question. What are you most proud of?
I never saw my art as a real business. Hmm. My husband was a breadwinner, and I always just kind of was doing stuff on the side. And it was always like the money that I made from my art didn't really matter because he had the real job. And that was just kind of always in the back of my mind. And he retired from his real job, I think a year and a half into me having a membership.
Let's go. Let's go.
So that was just really validating. Yeah, that felt pretty amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
it's been a heck of a ride, buddy. I'm ridiculously proud of you. You've inspired so many people. I love the way in which you've grown the business. I love the way in which you contribute to charitable causes that you're passionate about. I love the way in which you serve your community. You show up for them. You care about them. You gush about them. You showcase them. And all of that creates goodwill. And this is the woo-woo side of Stu, but I just believe you put good energy out into the world and good energy will come back. And so I see your membership continuing to grow and this business continuing to grow. And there's lots for you to be proud of. Where can people go to follow you and connect with you?
Well, on Facebook and Instagram, I am Allie K Studio, and Allie is A-L-I. There are a lot of ways to spell Allie. So Allie K Studio. Yep.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stu.
That was Allie K. How good was that, right? If this episode helped you rethink how you launch, then hit subscribe because we got new episodes just like this dropping every single week. I put together a free resource kit with Allie's $10 coupon trick, her Charity Day cart close strategy, and the 5-day stacked bonus workshop structure that she uses on every launch. Just scan the QR code or grab the link in the description. Now, next week, we have Olivier Roland, and he's built one of the largest online business audiences in the French-speaking world, and he is breaking down how he did it. And we're talking about how to grow in a market most English-speaking creators completely overlook, and what English creators can steal from the way he built his audience. You won't want to miss this. It's so good.